Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. Underrated, we the underdogs.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Totem Podcast. I want to start you guys off with a little quote again. I always wonder why birds stay in the same place when they can fly anywhere on Earth. So then I ask myself the same question. Haroon Yaya. What's going on, Erick? How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Feels good to be back on the podcast for a little bit.
What do you think about the quote I just read you?
It's pretty powerful if you actually think about it. Like birds, they have the power of flight. When we're little kids, we wish our one superpower was to be able to fly or be invisible. Like I know mine was to be able to fly, so you can go anywhere in the world. But you see birds, they actually have that ability, and they just decide to go nowhere and just stay where it's comfortable.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because they know, like, I guess their habitat and their dangers and stuff around in that area? Or do you think it's just because they haven't gone, I guess, across that boundary, that barrier that keeps them, because they'll be like, when you're small, like, hey, don't go too far over there in the deep end in the water. They keep you over here. So is it like limitations, you think, or what?
I think it's just them being comfortable with where they are. Same with like little kids in a pool. Like parents say, "Oh, don't go to the deep end or anything," because they feel comfortable when they're here in the shallow end. But sooner or later, there's that one kid who's just curious enough to go to the deep end, see what it is, see how it is. But I think it's just being they're comfortable from where they're at. They got food, water, shelter. So why bother messing around and risking the comfort of your home and your surroundings to go somewhere else?
So is that good or bad? In your point of view?
For me, I guess it just depends on the person. There's people that are, to be happy in life, that's totally fine with them. They just want to be comfortable, just be able to get by and just be happy where they are. But then there's other people that like they lack that fulfillment. In order for them to feel fulfilled, they're like that little kid in the pool. They want to see what's at the deep end. Why doesn't my mom let me go, or why doesn't my dad let me go? Like they want to go see for themselves what's out there, and then once they know what's out there, then they can make their decision.
It's kind of like the thing, like when you're small. Like you're saying, don't do this, don't do that. Your parents, because they're kind of telling you because maybe they experienced something, say like, hey, get off that table, you're gonna fall. They know what will happen to you. But then, you as a little kid are just like, nah, fuck it. You kind of want to experiment. It gives you like that much more like an itch to try it, just because they told you not to do it. And that's
same thing when they're like, oh no, you can't go date that person or whatever. You're like, why not? Like the ranch hand on the farm going with the farmer's daughter. It's like, why can't you can't go take the farmer's daughter because it's forbidden, but that just makes them want it more.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So do you think with that, like some of that goes kind of like with that quote, I guess it kind of connects with like the personal development, the development each person has, I guess it's kind of like titled personal development, but it's like the evolvement of human beings throughout the experiences they have had throughout their life, good or bad.
Yeah, I think that ties like right into it. Like people who aren't like as developed like personally or like mentality wise or anything, they just tend to stay where they're comfortable. That's how like I know like I was for a while. You don't know any better. It's not your fault or anything. It's not like a terrible thing, but you just don't have that knowledge to see like what's out there and stuff. But if you're more like developed, like as a person, mentality wise and all that, then you kind of start realizing like there's more to like life and all that stuff than just here in this like small town where I live, or hometown or whatever, or your home state even. Just knowing that there's more out there, and that just because you're from like a small town or from a small family or from poor family or middle class family or even like a rich family, like if you want something, like, you can go get it.
You hit up a little bit on the mentality side. Why do you focus on the mentality side? Do you think that's a bigger, like, what are the biggest things that leads to comfort? Or is it, because comfort, I guess, well, wait, look at it, come different in many ways, but it's like you're talking about it more like mentality. You think that's kind of where it starts?
I think it all just has to do with your mentality. Your mentality controls a lot more than what people tend to think. It's like if I don't know, if you have like a strong mentality, like strong discipline and all that stuff, that just all comes from your mind and being able to tell your mind or tell your body what to do, and then like following through with it. It's just, your mentality is just the biggest part of it, because it's just, your mind's just a powerful tool. Not a lot of people realize that, but it's pretty powerful.
Your mind. I personally think it's like kind of like, or your body in general is like it's just like a big muscle, and it's just gonna, if you kind of compare it to like a plant or whatever, it's just gonna feed off of whatever you give it. If you give it like bad nutrients, bad food, bad advice, like you have negativity all around you, that's what you're feeding it. That's kind of what it grows up to be. So it's kind of like, and they say the biggest, what do they call it? What develops the development of a young kid, I guess, what decides kind of how they are, their personality is going to be, is from the time they're born to 7 years old. And usually we're around our parents that time, and it's not saying stuff bad about your parents, not just your parents. I mean your people that you're at school, your teachers and stuff like that. And a lot of people, they're not living a happy, a fulfilled, I guess, life for them, and there's something missing. And that's why a lot of people are angry. You see everyone, you just be at the store and you just have some random lady or a guy, you know, it can go either way, guys or girls, they just flip out. And I feel like if something triggered you that quick, you have something that's bothering you. Okay. It wasn't really because they put too much cream in your coffee, like something dumb like that, you know, it's something that's been bothering you for a while, and you don't feel, how do I say, you don't feel like, I guess, fulfilled. You with the person you see in the mirror, you're not happy, and you know it, but you just keep lying to yourself. And the more you lie to yourself, the worse you get.
I think that also, like, a good example of that is just road rage. A lot of people are, oh, you cut me off, you son of a bitch, or whatever. But in reality, they're mad because they have to go probably to a job they don't like.
Because because they're running late. They knew they had to leave their house at 7, and they fucking left at 7:15, and now they're going to be late. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it just comes down to the people that are actually what they experiment. Most people aren't, not all of them, most people aren't living a fulfilled life, I believe. And then the biggest thing with that, they're not, there's a lot of stuff that can trigger it, but a lot of stuff you're saying, like, they're comfortable. So they're comfortable. People feel, I feel like, personally, I think you have to have a little discomfort so you can feel a little more fulfilled. You just had a hard workout. Say you had a hard workout. You're like, oh no, you know, I can't. Say you're running. You're gonna run a quarter mile, and you ran it, and you end up running half a mile. Now you're just like, hell yeah, you know, I just did double than what I said. You feel good. So you need a little you had discomfort from that quarter mile to the half mile. But once you did it, you're like, yeah, you know, you feel good. But see, when you're just comfortable, you're just like, you know what, I don't even want to work out. And then it's just a downward spiral.
Comfortable, just like sitting on the couch, just watching Netflix and chilling, or just eating whatever, and you just get comfortable with that. You're like, and also, I guess it also just ties to the people you hang around with too. Just like how they say, like, you're a sum of the 5 closest friends you have, something like that. And then that's how it is.
5 people that you spend more time with, not necessarily friends. They necessarily don't have to. It can be your boss. Your boss might not be your friend, but you're always around him, and he's always pissed off. So just, you know, that's where you get the pissed off from. and then you're around that friend that's just like has a bad job too, or doesn't like what he's doing or she's doing, and then you say like, hey, you know, well, let's go grab a burger, you know, or let's just
grab some drinks, and then you just
you know, it's a downward spiral.
Come in.
Las tóxicas.
They're just people. It's like they're emotionally draining. They just come to you to just basically just tell you all your problems or all their problems, and have you just there listening to them or whatever, you know.
So we're kind of going through some of the problems, like, I guess not problems. It can be stuff that you're facing, the adversity, those things. What are some things that you think that could flip it to positive? We're facing this. I think for this, maybe we can try this. What do you think?
You mean like if you're like running late to work or some shit, like or
yeah, say you're running late to work or you're having road. What's some like, hey, like get up earlier, or you know, maybe you need to spend more time by yourself. You know, read a book, or what are some of your personal tips that have helped you? Not necessarily that will help everybody else, but that have helped you.
I think that's like the main thing that's helped me out like a ton is to pretend there's a camera following you and they're doing a reality show on you, or they're doing like some sort of show on you, and just pretend like there's always a camera on you, like a documentary, like
what is it? The show, what was that famous show that everybody watched?
Tiger King?
Jersey Shore. No, Jersey Shore. Oh, Jersey Shore. They just have the camera around the house, you know. There you go.
Well, they just did get attention too, because there's a camera following them around. They just still do stupid ass shit. Yeah. But like here, it's like yeah, something like that. Just can't hide. Pretend there's a camera following you around, and like just imagine yourself like, would you go see this show about you? Would you be like recommending the show to other people? Because if you're just there just having a bad day or getting road rage and shit, like go just pretend yourself like you're at the movie theater and you're on the big screen. Like, is that something you want to be like looking at yourself? Like, would you actually be proud of that, or would you be pretty fucking embarrassed?
It's like being the I've heard some stuff like that, but it's like be the hero of your own movie. Everybody wants to see the movie, and all the action movies with the hero. You got whatever it is, Superman, Batman. They have it. They face all this adversity. They're pretty much broken. They're fucking broken. But then with all that still coming at them, they find a way to overcome it and become. That's why they're the hero. They find a solution for everything, and it's good. Yeah, and everybody wants that. But then everybody doesn't see that the whole work, you know, that Superman had to do. Batman was an orphan.
But
then he's putting in work. Batman has his day job, and he's still up all night saving Gotham City. So it's like, hey, he's putting work in. Like you gotta be willing to sacrifice some stuff if you actually want to evolve. Like all the excuses in the book, they're valid. They're valid for that person that you are right now. If you want to keep being that person, it's fine. I guess that that advice isn't for you. But it's like if you want to do something else, like all the advice, all the excuses you're making yourself, they're all valid. If you want to keep being the same person, if you want to evolve, you got to start getting some of those excuses. First of all, you got to realize. You got to take note of what's going on. You can't fix something that you don't know is broken. Once you know it's broken, then you can start repairing it. It might not be 100% back, but you can start repairing it. Or maybe with those broken pieces, you can make a better piece than what it originally was. But a lot of people just look at the pieces and they don't know what to do.
It also just ties it into like a sense of entitlement. Like, oh yeah, like my parents have this or whatever. They're kind of successful, so I deserve to have that because that's something they did.
What are some examples? Like they have this, like what? Give me an example.
Like I don't have like a specific example, but like a lot of just like wealthier people or like even athletes, their kids, they just feel like, oh, my dad's Michael Jordan, I should be on the fucking varsity starter or some shit without actually having to put in the work. But like that, like not saying like that like specifically, but there's like a lot of people who have like that mentality. Is like, oh, like I come from this part, so like I think I deserve more than you do.
They try to punk everybody else of what their parents did or their family has done. I mean, I personally don't think that's right. Like, if their family, my personal point of view, like, if your parents, if your family or whatever have done really that much, they have put a lot of personal development, like stuff in you personally, so you don't become that person that's just trying to brag to everybody, you know. Because if you're one of those persons that's bragging to everybody, your parents are probably like that, or probably all the stuff they have isn't really real. It's just a fake world. And that I mean, it's hard. Nobody wants their kids to suffer, to go through some stuff. Because like everyone's been through some hard times. Nobody wants to go through it. But those hard times are what makes you appreciate the good and actually value the good times. Sort of say, you know, like if it's financially or whatever, you know, like if you didn't have money to eat, you didn't even know what you were gonna have for dinner, stuff like that, or like how you were gonna do your payments, stuff like that, you know. And then now you're past that stage in your life, like you can do that. Like you value it way more because you know what it is to not have anything. But when you're born with everything, you don't know what it will be to go to be with nothing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's like the road is long.
Another example, I guess, would be people wanting to raise the minimum wage. Like people think, oh yeah, like I go to this job, I put in a shit ton of hours, so I deserve more money. But they don't actually stop to think that no, to deserve more money, you need to learn a new skill. You need it.
What value are you bringing to your job? Why should your boss pay you more?
Exactly.
Because if you're that valuable, your boss would probably take you. Your boss, he's probably a smart guy because he's in that position to begin with. Everybody dogs on them, but they have to know somewhat of what's kind of going on because they have that job. There's some exceptions. But for them to be in that job, I mean, they kind of have to know what they're doing, you know, and if they haven't seen that you bring more value, if you're the only one that thinks you should be paid more and everyone is like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this guy, you know. He shows up fucking late. He gets a long-ass lunch. He half-asses his work. He has a bad attitude. He always bitches and complains. I don't know, man.
Go take a look at yourself in the mirror or some shit.
Start doing a little analyze. And that's the hardest thing to do because you have to let go of your ego. You're pretty much fighting your ego. Your ego is like, if somebody doesn't know what your ego is like, you're badass. You're a badass. That's what your ego's telling you. Okay. Telling you something about that. Now, fuck that guy. Everyone, you know, they get their ego.
My boss, I deserve more fucking money.
I deserve more money. Okay, cool. And if you go somewhere and you get more money, congratulations. Like, you did deserve more money. But if you go somewhere and someone else wants to pay you the same or less, or you can't even find a fucking job, another job, then you're just, you know, you kind of start thinking like, hey, you should start realizing.
You should. That's the main point. You should start to realize that
people feel entitled.
Maybe you're not as good. As you thought you were.
And then that's just for jobs though. But it's like, it's not just money wise that people feel entitled. You know, it's fucking like it can be like house. Here in this country, good, we're fortunate, but people in other places, people don't have ACs. People don't even have shelters. People don't have heaters. And over here, it's inhumane if you don't have that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now it's inhumane if you don't have that shit. Now it's inhumane if you don't even get unemployment. Imagine that. You don't even have, now they want, you need to have a heater. You need to have an AC. You need to have a shelter. And it has to be livable. Like I don't want to be living in some shitty place that the government's going to give me. It has to be a nice, suitable place for you.
Nice neighborhood.
You wanted a nice neighborhood, and then on top of that, you still want them to give you unemployment. Like, look at all that stuff. Other people, times are different. Lifestyles are different. But people in other countries, first of all, they don't have fucking unemployment. You get up and work,
or you don't eat,
or we'll see what you're having for lunch, bud. And then heater and AC and all that. Like, people have it really good here, and they haven't realized that yet. Yeah. And I don't know if people will realize it, because it's the same thing. You kind of go back to I've had this hard lifestyle. I don't want my kids to go through that. So you try to give your kids everything.
Protect them from
everything.
From the world.
I heard something from a guy a long time ago. He talks about your kids. Each person raises their kids a different way. But he talks about your kids should be raised with a little hunger and a little cold. They should feel the fucking cold, and they should be a little hungry, because then that's when you're gonna value the stuff a little bit more. But I mean, I guess it's each person raises their kids how they want. It's just kind of my perspective that I have on that. You know, you need to have your kids face adversity early on, just to see just try it. Or I mean, you don't have kids, but like with Monico and stuff, like, just see them, give them a hard task to fucking do, and then you just see it. Like, sometimes they get frustrated, like, no, I don't know. You better start pedaling that bike a little faster, because I'm gonna leave you here. And you'll see them. You'll see them get it quick. And that's kind of the thing, that you kind of just have to let them mess with it by themselves. See, you know, like, as your parents, you're here to. My perspective again, like, don't take it like, oh, he said this. No, but my perspective is, you're here to help that baby, those kids, evolve so they can be independent without you. That's kind of you don't want your kid. Obviously, your kid, you always need, like, family and all that stuff. But you don't want your kid to always be dependent just on you. We all depend on, like, everybody wants to be with their son, the kids, or parents. But, like, I mean, it's financially or mentally and everything, like, you know, be able to be an independent human being.
Where do you think that, like the sense of, like, entitlement comes from? Do you think, because you said it kind of, like, depends on how you, like, parents raise their kids and stuff. Do you think it's kind of like that? Or do you think it's more of like, it's like society saying, oh no, you're here so you deserve this kind of thing?
Society's making you soft. Making you soft. You take it, and I'll straight up drop the ball. I don't really care. Like, society's making everybody soft. In every way. People are like, oh, you can't say this because you're going to offend somebody. You can't wear this because then that means this. You can't do that here because that looks bad. So you can't do this. So you're pretty much living a double life. When you're out in society, you're portraying somebody that you aren't. And when you're at home, then you kind of let it all out. But the problem is, when they let it all out and you have kids and stuff, you let it out all on them. And we go back to the 5 people you're around, and from age to 7 is when you learn everything. So do you see the fucking problem now? Mm-hmm. All those people having their fucked up lives at work or in society, go to the grocery store, they come back and then they let it all out on their family, their kids. Not just their kid, their wife too. I mean, it's everybody. Her husband, you know, it's everybody. And then it's a downward spiral. And it's not, you won't be able to make a change on something until you know something's going on. And you can start easy. I mean, everybody, like, well, I mean, you were in school. Everybody hated homework. Everybody hated all that shit. Yeah. But it was a type of, it would help you, I guess. I hated homework, but I guess it was a type of, to make you responsible to a certain point. Mm-hmm. And just to And it's another thing that you just kind of depends what kind of glasses you're wearing when you're seeing the whole perspective you have. It's pretty much like I take it now as like to always be learning. You learned at school. Yeah, you're going home and you got to learn some more. And you're like, nah, hell no, I already finished school.
Time for learning is done.
Like, yeah, and that's what people think. And that's why people are stuck. That's why they're in line. They're in line for that rat race. Everyone's ready. They're ready for that rat race. It's just they don't know they're racing, but they're racing. They don't know it yet. They'll find out like in 10 years. Some of them will. Some of them won't. And someone will find out and they'll just be like, let me run faster. Let me run faster to get to be in the rat race. But there's always somebody faster.
The point is to fucking get out of the rat race.
And how do you get out? And how do you get out?
Personal development.
In what ways?
Just learning about just more things. It's like not just like learning, but also learning and putting it to use.
That's the biggest thing. Because a lot of people, they can read stuff or they can listen to a lot of videos or do this and this, but they never. What do they call it? Those are the. I forgot this. It's the word I heard some guy use. You go to all the conferences, you go to all the things and this and this and this. Okay, when you can put it work? How much more books do you have to read to actually start doing something?
More books you have to read. How much more conferences you have to go to? How much more stories or things you have to listen to? Like I'll be the first one. Like that was me a couple years ago. I was just thought it was like the cool thing to do. Just say I'm like doing personal development. Oh yeah, I'm reading books. Oh yeah, I'm going to this conference, go learn this shit. But then you come back and then you don't fucking put it to use. You're just trying to front it for the gram, how they say nowadays. Just trying to put it out there without actually doing the fucking work. But that's the biggest thing is like, okay, yeah, you can learn and stuff, but at some point, you have to take what you learn and put it to use. If not, you're just fucking wasting time.
And what kind of books do you read, I guess?
Well, right now I'm still reading Grant Cardone's Sell or Be Sold. It's just, this book specifically is like learning how to like sell like a product and like be able to like sell yourself as well. Like create more I guess like hype about it, more like on that end. But then I also like to read just books on how to like become a better person. How to become like a better husband for your wife, better dad for your kids, better mom for your kids, better son for your parents. Just being like an overall just better person.
What's like a book that you've read and something like that?
One of the books was Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's kind of like both like business and being a better person because I feel like they tie in together pretty closely. Like if you're a shitty person, you're gonna be a shitty business person. Like a lot of people think like business or salesmen are all like, oh, just like sell, hard sell, but it's not. I don't like view sales as something like that, or sales or business as just all about money. No, it's about like
it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle and trying to help people along the way, not just like here, buy this. Okay, you're done. Buy next. It's
for some people.
For some people,
like that, like us. That's what our goal is. Obviously, is monetize, but it's to help people. You know, and I mean, it's if you want to help if you try to look out for others, I mean, it goes a longer way. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's probably one of the first best book I would recommend to somebody trying to do something. You know, wouldn't you think?
100%.
That's I feel like that's probably the good starter. It's a little long, but I mean it's an easier type of read for people like younger kids to understand it too, for all ages.
It's not just like do this and do this, do this. No, he writes about like telling a story, and that's what like got me intrigued into it. It's like he shares his personal story and how like he went through, and I found myself like really relating to it. Like you want shit to be done now, but no, like takes time to be able to develop into the person that can be able to do something like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not just finding books, just like you like person like that type of books. Like, dude, for any person, like if you like animals, go read animal books. If you like sports, soccer, go read soccer books.
Go read Animal Farm.
Just go read books like in whatever interests you. That's why you don't like reading. That's why I didn't like reading, because it would force you to read a book.
Force you to read Shakespeare or some bullshit like that.
Like I don't want to read that shit. Like it's not interesting to me. They might have some good stuff for the person seeking that stuff. I wasn't seeking that stuff. That's why I didn't like reading. But the stuff I read now, I mean, I go back and forth, kind of do some personal development stuff, but then I go back and forth. I like
back and forth, like just reading for fun.
Just other stuff. I mean, a book I'm doing right now. It's by Jack Carr. You know Jack Carr? He's a ex-Navy SEAL. Does some fucking good books. He has a series on them. I hated reading. He has a sequel of them. I'm on the 4th book already. Is The Devil's Hand. He just came out a couple months ago. That one's good. They're good. He talks about some guys with they're in the army, PTSD, and you know. And they're really good books. Each book's like 350 pages around. There's something like that. Over 300. Now I've already read 3 of them. I'm on the 4th one right now. And those are good books because those actually have they're fiction, because they kind of put the army, like government, CIA. They're fiction, but a lot of the stuff they have in there, just think about it. Yeah, right now the stuff I'm talking about, they're talking about, it's a section. It's a made up book, but it's about the September 11th. How the whole thing's going down, but he's telling a story about it. It's a good book. Check him out, Jack Carr. He's good. They're about to have the series on Amazon Prime Video, I guess, to come out. That's good with Chris Pratt. He's gonna be the main character.
Nice.
It's gonna be a good one. But just read stuff that interests you, man. Like, people think it's all like, oh no, he's into doing this now. Now it's gonna be brutal for the next 6 months or whatever for him, because he's in. Like, no, you have to enjoy it.
Just because of that.
You have to enjoy the process.
Yeah, you have like this final vision of yourself, or this like end goal you want to get to. But if you're not like having fun with the process, not enjoying your journey to get there, then chances are you're not going to get there, because you're just going to hate it and end up like quitting or something. So it's all about just finding something you like and just doing it, sticking with it.
Yeah, just keep going along with it, whatever journey it is. And then it's same thing goes. So we kind of went to the mental, and then like physical, like people like physical, like, oh, I got to kill myself now. I want to drop 10, 15 pounds. Rabbit starvation. It's like, I got to run 7 miles every day, you know, and just like, no, dude, like, you can work out. Just, it doesn't even have to be too crazy, dude. 20, 30 minutes a day, you know, if you're not used to it, and then just go from.
Just do some cardio, some resistance.
3 days a week or something, you know. You don't have to be like, I'm doing 6 days a week. You never worked out, and then you want to go 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. Is like, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna hate it, and that's why everybody stops. Like, they're not consistent because they hate it. They torture themselves so much, and then they hate it. Just like, dude, just go. You don't have to be too crazy. Like, one day for your workout, you came home from work or whatever, just go on a walk by yourself with your kids or whatever. Ride a bike with your daughter or your son. It doesn't have to be too crazy. Just be active. Just
don't need to
get your heart rate going.
You don't need to have like this big old full setup gym or whatever. You can just go out, like you were saying, like go outside for a walk or something. Go ride a bike, or you can do like some pushes if you want to or something. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot to just get the ball rolling. You know,
and that's kind of all what you need. You just need to get the ball rolling, because once you start feeling good. You start feeling good with it, so you kind of just keep going. Oh, like, that felt pretty good today. What if I do it tomorrow? What if I keep doing it tomorrow? Oh, cool, I did it. I did it. What if I do it another day? And then you kind of keep doing it, and then it kind of turns into your lifestyle. And then it turns kind of cool if you have kids or whatever. Just they'll be like, "Hey, Dad, let's go. Let's go walk, or just let's go to the park, just play tag or whatever." You can think it's nonsense, but I mean, it's enough,
Like a lot of people just view it as like, oh, I just have to do this for now, and then like I'll be good. Once I get like in shape, then I don't have to work out anymore. But it's about like
they'll drop 20 pounds. They'll drop 15, 20 pounds, and they're like, oh no, now I'm good. Now I don't have to work out because I already dropped the weight I want. Like, you don't understand, dude. It's the you gotta love the process. If you don't love the process, you're not gonna love the end results.
Yeah, you might lose those 20 pounds, but how are you gonna feel after that? If you're just fucking like starving yourself and running 7 miles a day or whatever, it's all just like, well, how I've been viewing it. Like I've been also like trying to work out more, trying to lose some weight, but like first step for me was realizing it's not gonna happen overnight.
That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing.
Like, gain all this weight.
Everybody wants the magic.
Get up to this weight.
You didn't say like, hey, I'm gonna have this fucking brownie. You ate the brownie and then boom, you looked in the mirror, you just gained 30 pounds or whatever,
It was a process to gain all that weight too.
It was a process. It was some hard work, fucking
hard work, fucking doing curls with brownies in each hand.
So it's like you got first you started the freshman 15, then it's just
been like 50. Wait, fuck. No, but
see, that's kind of how it goes. And then too, it's just like people. I feel like it's easier nowadays. Kind of people consume what they want to consume, I guess you could say. Because a lot of people have Facebook. You guys have Facebook. You guys have Instagram. You guys can choose who you want to follow, who you want to listen to. There's a lot of guys that are from Fort Morgan or where, that were Denver, wherever you're from. They're from your same town that are pretty good at fitness. They know their stuff. There's a couple people I personally know. You just kind of follow their stuff and kind of motivates you. Like, hey, I should try this recipe that they cooked, or I should try this little workout. He said he was doing these today. Let me try those. Or she was doing that. Let me try that. And just like, so you kind of choose who you follow. There's a couple personal trainers I personally know that like they can do stuff. It's like
even like when I was up in college at my second year in college, I had a roommate who was on the track team for the school, and he's just like pretty good in shape. He's like a bodybuilder and all that stuff, and it's like you don't have to go out and like search for those people. Like homeboy was living like right next door to me, like just fucking like shit like that. Like you don't have to go too far. Opportunities come disguised in many shapes and sizes. It's just the thing is, do you choose to see them or do you just choose to let them go? That's the thing, Sometimes, and that's the thing. The train comes and goes all the time. The thing is, are you going to keep letting the train go by? Or maybe you don't know that the train is coming by because you haven't developed yourself into that person to see that the train is coming. You haven't seen the train because you can't see it, because you haven't trained yourself to get to that capacity. Because the train's always going, and if you don't see the train, like us, me, you, or whoever's listening to this, if you're not seeing the train go by, because it goes by every day it goes by. Some days you might be sleeping, some days you might be too busy on your phone, or some days it's literally right in front of you, but you haven't developed yourself that personally and into that person yet. Mentally, physically, financially. So instead of like bitching and complaining that you don't have an out to do the stuff you want, start analyzing your life and become the person you want to become. You know what I mean? Don't you think? Yeah, for sure. Little shout out to your tattoo right there.
Shout out to the tattoo on the whole arm. It's the train with the clock. You don't know where it's going, but it's taking you somewhere. You can decide to get on and off of that train ride whenever you want. But when you get on, or you get off, you just gotta suffer the consequences, for the good or for the bad. But that's what makes it beautiful. You decided to do that. No one fucking made you do it. You decided. And that's kind of how it. So it kind of loops back to the phrase I told you guys at the beginning, to the quote. I always wonder why birds stay in the same place when they can fly anywhere on Earth. So ask yourself the same question. Is it because it's a dumb animal, or is it because that's all it's taught? Or is it because it's all it wants to see? Or all it wants to hear? Or all it wants to listen to? What do you guys think? I'll leave some homework for you guys right there with that one. Appreciate you guys for being on. Give us a like and a follow. Subscribe. Check us out on all our social medias. Thanks for being on, guys. Peace.
Peace out, guys.